I put the hat of the president of the International Committee of Fundraising Organizations, and we are here to talk about two reasons behind the investment in monitoring activities. Going to the dentist is not a very pleasant thing, so why don't we just simply deal with the large things that you do, and over a lot of NGOs that we have here today to help those individuals and to improve the world. Why are we here today? Why is it worth, engaging in monitoring activities? First of all, because we need to explain what the monitor does. I'm going to do so by explaining. I'm having some trouble with this clicker anyway. Well, I will explain what we do. What we don't do is account auditing. Are you auditors? We could be called auditors, but this is not the P&L auditing. We just come after that. We assess based upon different principles in every single country, because mind you, we've got 20 countries of the world participating in our organization. From the 4 continents, we have the United States, Taiwan, France, Germany, Burkina Faso. We are all very different, yet we have 3 fundamental pillars we abide by. What we assess, how do we do it, and what we publish in order to be disclosed to anyone in the society, whether it's media or public administrations, so they can gain access to our work and our analysis. So what we assess these standards. And the way this is orchestrated in the countries is different, but at the ICFO, all the members came to an agreement to see, okay, we are going to analyze the mission, the purpose of the organization, so every single activity is fully aligned with the purpose and the mission. We also analyze the adequate governance that does act as a supervisory entity and that assumes their responsibilities and that has a strong, commitment. And we also analyze the financials of the organizations. It is important to disclose the P&L and the entire financial organization that really reflects a trusted image of their actual situation. We also analyze efficiency. This is often asked by donors, how we distribute between activity-related expenses or mission-related expenses, overheads, and finally fundraising. Well, we as monitors analyze this and publish this. This is the structure of this organization, and we may explain why they have this structure or that other structure, but this is very important to introduce this analysis. We also analyze the effectiveness, ensuring that the organization discloses the results and the outcome obtained by their activities, because this is linked very much with the integrity. We need to ensure that the communication is compelling, not aggressive, disclosed, and last but not least, transparency comes last. So, if you do not have the good practices, the good standards, there's no transparency. So, on the governance, financials, results, and activities. And this is what a monitor does, a charity monitor does. We do so based on these guiding principles, the standards that everyone knows. Everyone knows the rules of the game. And as Salvador said, we can't really analyze it all. So when we give the certificate, so to speak, it's based upon these principles only. This should be applicable equally to all the organizations. And it needs to be reviewed and reanalyzed periodically, because we are not bound by principles defined 20 years ago, because the world and the society is evolving. So we are constantly reviewing what we need to analyze in order to be up to date, and we do so with trained analysts that are always linked to the organization. And there are many variables within the ICFO members. Sometimes they are employees, but sometimes they are volunteers, like the case of France, 100 volunteers that carry out this analysis. They had prominent C-collar jobs in different corporates, and they are now working as volunteers for us. And these are the guiding principles that the monitors assess. We need to avoid at all times conflicts of interest, and it is important for the organizations to ensure that if a standard is not met, the charity has the opportunity to provide additional information. And if we need to reassess the principles or the standards occasionally, we need to reassess these charities. We can't really rest on our laurels once the hallmark has been given. No, we need to repeat the reassessment every 3 years, but that really depends upon the countries, obviously. And what is it that we publish? This is the third principle. The principles, the how, and those publications are the standards. We also publish the assessment process and the fees. And this is very important to be disclosed. The rules of the game have to be very clear. What we charge the organization in order to undergo the assessment or to receive the certificate needs to be published in our website. And finally, the outcome of these assessments. And here again, we have very varied model. There are countries or monitors that only disclose the actual certificate, and in other countries they just disclose the entire process and provide more or less information. But we always provide the outcome of this analysis. What is it that we do not publish? We do not have a ranking or a comparison. There isn't any benchmark whatsoever. We are not here to do that. We are just here to offer information, to raise trust, and to ensure, okay, this is the organization that you can trust, this is the information that you have available. And if you're okay with it, you can become a volunteer, you can donate. And that's why I wanted to show you this slide. And finally, we have a map of the world, the footprint of our ICFO organization. 20 monitoring organizations in 20 different countries, as varied as it shows on the screen. 4 in the Americas, Canada, United States, Mexico, and Brazil. 3 in Asia, Japan, Taiwan, and India. 1 in Africa, in Burkina Faso. They just joined last year. And 12 of them in Europe. We are all very different, yet we have a lot of common ground among us all. 2 reasons to invest in monitoring. First of all, that organizations, or charities in this case, improve for multiple reasons. Because you may say, okay, I'm a charity, I want to be fully transparent, disclose my good practices and abide by them. Well, based on that, if you want transparency, you need adequate management, and you need adequate governance, and you need to do all these. It can be discussed or debatable, but we have a stable framework where we say what do we understand by transparency and good practices. The other reason is that we are doing it cricket. You are here to, publish the accounts. Please careful with this, because you may have a conflict of interest. Remember that the governance structure is not fully abiding. The organizations, the charities, have a tremendous work, and what we do, we remind them what they need to continue doing, and we just watch new trends, and we also introduce the whistleblowing channel and the impact assessment. The second reason why we need to invest in monitoring is because of the improvement, as I said, of the charities, and secondly because the entire analysis is very strict and it is disclosed to the general public. If everyone did it on their own, it would be very costly, but we do it for them all. The best investment you can possibly imagine is for you to use it, to use the analysis, the reports, the outcome of our information, because only then these would be even more efficient and more profitable, and the investment or the work we do would be much more interesting. With that, we're going to hand over the floor to the next round table.